A few years ago, my oldest daughter got engaged and we began to plan her wedding. My husband's a CPA, and so he keeps us on a strict budget, and we had a strict budget for the wedding. She had all of these dreams and wishes for her wedding, and it became clear very quickly that our budget that my husband had given us was not going to be adequate for the dream wedding that she wanted. And so I began to think of things that I could do to save money on her wedding. And one of the things that I decided that I could do was to learn to make cakes. I took a couple of very inexpensive classes at a local craft store, and I began to practice. And over a couple months, I learned to make her wedding cake. And it was a really fun thing for me to be able to do for her, and it saved us a lot of money. And at the wedding, it was beautiful, and she was so happy with it. Now today, I want to share with you something that I've learned since then that I didn't know. Back when I made her wedding cake, I had to pipe each individual petal of each flower to put on the cake. And since then, I've learned of something called Russian piping tips. And with the Russian piping tips, you can pipe a flower with just one squeeze of the frosting bag. I'm going to show you today how to do this. And women, I want you to think of all the beautiful things that you can make for friends and family to give as gifts, or for birthday parties, or even if you have to make a wedding cake. And men, I want you to think of how you can impress your wife or your girlfriend. They would be so happy with a cupcake that you made just for them. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to show you the piping tips. Now the piping tips are rather large, and you can see I've got one right here. They're very large, and the frosting comes out of the tip, and each petal of the flower comes out separately. Now, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get your frosting. You're going to make your frosting, and today what I used a canned frosting from the grocery store because I was strapped for time. And you can do this, and you can even go to the grocery store and you can buy some cupcakes. Just ask them for some cupcakes that aren't iced if you do not have time. So what you're going to do first is you're going to get your frosting, and you're going to add some extra powdered sugar to it to make it really stiff. If you can see this here, I've added in, it's really stiff because the individual petals of the flower, when they come out of this tip, they need to be able to stand up. And so you want your frosting to be pretty stiff. And you can kind of check that, just pipe a few and see if it's stiff enough. If it isn't, then put a little more powdered sugar in it. And one of the things I want to show you too is what I do is I get a disposable piping bag, and they're very cheap at Walmart. And then I put it in my big bag, so I don't have to wash this. It saves a lot of time. And then I just throw this away and rinse this off really quick. It makes it really quick. So the first thing that you're going to do, once you've got your frosting in your bag and you've got your tip, now the tips are very, very inexpensive. You can buy them on Amazon. I've seen sets as cheap as like $10. The one that I bought was $21, and that included shipping. And it came in 2 days, and I think it has 30 tips in it, and I'll never use all of those for what I use, but it's kind of fun to have, and it's very inexpensive. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to frost. We're going to put a little layer of frosting on our cupcake. Now it's important that you do this one at a time because frosting forms a layer like a crust. It's called a crust, and it'll form shortly after you put it on the cupcake, and that'll make it so the flowers won't stick to it. When it's wet like this, when you're first doing it, they will stick to it because it's sticky, and this will help those flowers stay put. But if you frosted all of your cupcakes and then tried to put the flowers on them, it wouldn't work. So just do one at a time. You're going to frost it. It doesn't have to look good. It's kind of messy because it's going to be covered up. And you're going to start with your piping bag, and you're going to squeeze just straight down and lift up. Now, if the flower petals kind of curl out, you can take a toothpick. If they curl in, I'm sorry, you take a toothpick and just kind of gently move them so that they fold out. It doesn't have to be perfect, but start in the middle and then move out. And then keep going, just filling in randomly. It doesn't have to be perfect. And you can do some fixing with your toothpick after you pipe them. And just keep going around it until you have all of the flowers that you that you want. I don't know if you can see, that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take, in my set, it included a little leaf tip. And that's just a little tip like this. And we're going to take that leaf tip and we're just going to fill in some of those, just squeeze some leaves in. And just fill in some of those gaps that you might have. And give it a little bit of color. I'm going to keep going just kind of randomly around in some of the little gaps that might be. So you don't have to have this perfect. It looks great no matter what. And so there you have it. That's our little cute cupcake. And you could put several of these together and make a little bouquet. So I hope you've enjoyed my presentation on how to use Russian piping tips in making beautiful cupcakes or cakes for friends and family. Hopefully you'll be able to use this information to cheer someone's day and make someone else happy. Thank you very much.